me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine.
This episode of Greenlight Maine is being brought to you by Maine & Company, helping bring business to Maine. CEO to CEO.
This is a very exciting day. Welcome to the all-new college edition of Greenlight Maine. We have an incredible group of students from Maine colleges and universities. I'm your host, Julene Gervais, and thanks for joining us. As a way of keeping students and their business in Maine, we put together a prize package worth $60,000. One of our 10 contestants will win $25,000 in cash, office space, phone and internet, legal and financial consulting for an entire year, all the things you need for a startup right here in Maine. Before we meet our contestants, let's talk to our judges who are going to be with us throughout the series to keep this fair and balanced. Welcome back, Skip Bates from Bangor Savings Bank.
Thank you, Julene. It's nice to be here for the college edition.
And it's good to have you back. You're a pro at this now.
I don't know about a pro, but I'm excited to see these pitches today. These are going to be exciting.
All right, next up we have Tori Penrod-Canberra from Penrod Marketing. Tell us about your company.
Yes, thank you. I founded Penrod Marketing this year to help tech companies of all sizes with the go-to-market support they need to be successful in the market.
Well, you are the perfect person for these companies today. And finally, welcome Liam Sullivan. Tell us about XR Evangelist and Happy Giant.
So I'm an XR evangelist for Happy Giant, and we are a leader in the immersive augmented reality space. My job at Happy Giant is specifically to work with businesses on finding ways that we can bring this technology and grow more support and adoption around it.
Another perfect judge for this. All right, well, we're going to talk to you in just a couple minutes, but first I would like to introduce you to our first company. We have Justin from Kino Tech, and congratulations, you just graduated from the University of Maine in Orono.
Yeah.
And you are kicking butt with all of these entrepreneurial competitions.
Yeah, I won Big Gig, and that was a really great experience to have. And then I just got selected for Top Gun. Also super excited about that. I was on NewsCenter Maine. It's been a crazy couple months for sure.
All right, well, we're so happy to have you. Yeah. So whenever you're ready, look right at the judges and have fun.
All right. All right. I'm Justin Hafner, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Kino Tech. At Kino Tech, we're using virtual reality and motion capture technology to see the way people move and the different muscles they use. Now, I created this company around the idea that it's kind of hard the way that we're learning currently. So I just got my degree in kinesiology, and the way we learn is we get this piece of paper, we got 600 muscles on it, each movement associated with that muscle, so about over 1,000 terms, asked to memorize them all. As you can imagine, this can be quite overwhelming for an undergraduate student. So, thus, I created Kino Tech. I'm using kinesthetic learning, which is learning by doing. This lets you to be immersed in your environment, so you actually retain more information. So we're using a headset. This is what the viewer would be seeing. This is what's happening in real time. Everything's happening as you see it, as it happens. Our first market we hope to go into is our beachhead market, which is the educational technology market. $14 billion opportunity. Now, we hope to capture about 2,230 of these programs, which would yield about $5 million in our first year, because we hope to sell about 100 software suites. Now, while we're also going in the university setting, we're also going to be dually infiltrating the athletic setting, because university athletics and university programs usually work hand in hand. Currently, we're proving usability. We completed our prototype, and we just finished up our first round of stakeholder interviews. We accomplished about 30 of them so far. Now, by September 2019, we hope to scale up, finish up development. So January 2020, we hope to completely launch. In the 4 short months that we started this multidisciplinary team, we truly are multidisciplinary. We have people from all backgrounds. There's not one set of things. Now, we've raised just south about $50,000 in 4 months, all non-equity eluding funding. We're super excited to see what happens. We're here today to kind of ask to influence that, keep on going with that non-equity eluding funding. We're not ready to give up too much equity yet, but we do plan to have a Series A investment round by March of 2019. We're moving very quickly. Super excited to see what happens in the future. Thank you very much.
Nice job. So how much money do you need to raise overall?
Yeah, so it's $500,000 in our first year, and that'll allow us to scale up and do everything that we need to do.
Nice. First question, Skip.
Yeah, just thinking about the burn rate. So that's $500,000 in expenses, do you expect, for the first year?
Yeah, so that's in expenses and then also like salaries and stuff. But yeah, $500,000 in our first year. We also have really high margins. So I mean, we can sell this based off our stakeholder interviews for about $65,000, and it only costs about $7,000 to make.
Nice. Those are great margins. Is there any way for you to, instead of launching the whole thing as one package, can you do it in incremental pieces in a way that would provide some sales funding along the way? Or
Yeah, so we've looked into that reoccurring funding. So at the end of every year, so we kind of had set it up where individuals can buy in for a subscription fee, essentially, and that allows us to go there every year, help them out, make sure they have the most updated system, because we're going to be constantly improving this. I mean, when we launch in January 2020, it's going to be the first round.
Dory.
How much on-site support do you think your customers will require for this? Is it, do you see this as a product and services business, or is it predominantly product?
So based off people that have done something similar to us, they have gone into the actual place, taught them how to do it. They spent like a day or two working with the individuals, teaching them how to program, so then they know exactly how to use the program to help their students, athletes, whoever else needs it.
Liam.
Are there any other markets that you're looking at that you'd like to infiltrate?
Yeah, so educational is our first one. We're also going to be hitting the athletic market. Beyond that, the Department of Defense wants to use this to mitigate injuries. They spend about a couple $1 billion a year on musculoskeletal injuries. If we were to help 1% of them, we'd save them about $70 million a year just based off preventable injuries. We're also going to be going into ergonomics in the workplace. We also plan to help out the elderly population. So this can actually show Alzheimer's before people can actually know it, because they'll understand muscle atrophy. So that's the depletion of muscle use over time. And we'll be able to notice that based off their movements.
So if somebody's not using specific muscles, you'll be able to hone in on them and start correcting that? Or
Yeah, so that's exactly why athletics is really interested. So, I mean, athletics, especially at Division I level, is very technique-oriented. And you have to understand like what the athlete's doing, how they're doing it. Now, everyone moves differently, but that doesn't mean you're using the right muscles as you move, and everyone's movements are different. So there's not a cookie-cutter program for every single thing out there. This helps individualize everything, so not one thing is the same. A coach can understand what's happening.
Well, just looking at your team, you've got a chief technology officer, a financial officer, research, and yourself as the CEO. I don't see anything in there about sales. So is it too early for that, or what's the plan? How do you go to market?
We do plan on actually hiring up a sales team. So that's in that September 2019 area when we plan to scale up. So we have to get them. We hope to have a marketing person. We hope to have sales. So by January 2020, we can go out there and sell all of it as quickly as possible.
What does the competitive landscape look like for you? Are you racing against other tech companies and startups that are trying to do this, or are you trying to displace bigger players?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. So I came up with it, and I thought I'd find a lot of competition at first. There's really only one other company out there that's doing this, but the way they're presenting it isn't as intuitive as this. So we also have a patent that's going in. We're publication pending, and we've created kind of our own area of research that hasn't been identified. So on my LinkedIn page, I'll say I'm filling the gap between kinesiology and virtual reality.
Outstanding job. This is going to help so many people. All right, great questions by our judges. We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to have our sponsor conversation, so don't go away. More Greenlight Maine is coming up next.
Greenlight Maine would like to thank the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development, the Maine DECD, helping businesses and communities prosper.
Sometimes, even when you widen your view of things, it's hard to see everything that's happening behind the scenes. It's our feeling you're not always supposed to. Because when we do our part, the only thing we want you thinking about is doing yours. We're WEX, the people behind the payments, powering the possibilities.
WEX is a proud sponsor of Greenlight Maine.
Reaching new customers online is hard. You've tried Facebook, Google Ads, email. You even built a website 10 years ago. You're way too busy to focus on digital marketing, and you're not getting results.
At Dream Local Digital, that's what we do. We've helped businesses nationwide grow with online marketing. We're the experts. Let us help you.
Welcome back to Greenlight Maine. Our Sunday morning conversation is with Peter Del Greco from Maine & Company. So good to see you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for inviting me here.
For our folks at home who might not be as familiar with Maine & Company as the business community, just give us a real quick summary.
Sure. We are a privately funded nonprofit organization. We seek to attract new jobs and investment to the state of Maine. And we'll do this primarily by looking at companies that are out of state, We'll also help our in-state companies with growth and scaling plans and show them how they can be successful and profitable here in the state of Maine.
Great. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. So this was started by the powerhouses of Maine to really attract businesses, jobs, like all the big companies of Maine got together and said, let's do this.
Right. So we're in the first couple of days right now of a brand new gubernatorial administration, Governor Janet Mills. We were actually started, see, we've existed now with Governor Mills, going backwards, Governor LePage, Governor Baldacci, and then Governor Angus King. And at that time, there were a bunch of private sector companies went to then Governor King back in '97 or so and said, hey, there are companies that are growing and expanding all over the country, actually all over the world. We should have a private sector approach to attract those jobs and investments to the state of Maine, and we'd like to work with your administration. We've been able to keep that up over the course now of 4 administrations.
And what's it like when you get out of Maine and you're talking to these CEOs and you're trying to attract them here? Is it easy?
Nothing's easy. It's a lot of fun, though. Well, I like to joke that I have the best job in the state of Maine. I get to tell people how wonderful it is to do business here and to grow your company here. But it is clearly an easier job if you're talking with somebody that has a little bit of experience with what it's like to be in Maine, whether they went to school here, whether they grew up here, summer camp, skied. You'd be surprised when you look at the national business community, how many people realize what a special place we have here. And then it's my job, and actually the job of my entire team, to work with those companies to say, hey, those values that you appreciate, that make you want to come back here, that have you thinking longingly of this state, those values are important and can help your company grow and be more successful.
Very well said. Thank you so very
My
much
pleasure.
for being here. We have to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Greenlight Maine.
For almost 25 years, MaineBiz has been providing business news, information, and analysis for business owners and C-level executives in Maine. From Fort Kent to Kittery, MaineBiz serves the decision makers of Maine across multiple channels, including its flagship print digital publication, website, events, daily report, real estate insider, and weekly newsletter. Let MaineBiz help your business succeed. Inform, engage, connect.
At Bangor Savings Bank, we know the value of making genuine connections with our customers, providing a memorable experience with every interaction. We are committed to doing the right thing and working as a partner with the people and communities we serve. With convenient mobile and online banking technology, we offer more ways for you to reach out to us. Because at Bangor Savings Bank, you matter more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Emera Maine, we know customers rely on us to power their homes and businesses. That's why we're continually working to improve reliability of service and meet our customers' changing needs. Emera Maine wants to help local businesses grow and attract new businesses to northern and eastern Maine. We are deeply invested in our communities because these are our communities too. Emera Maine, bringing power to the people of Maine.
Welcome back to Greenlight Maine. Our next presenter is David Holomakoff from Zephyrus Simulation. Congratulations, you just got accepted to Top Gun.
Yes.
And you are also from the University of Maine, Orono, just like Justin.
That's
you guys
right.
are all friends up there.
Mm-hmm.
I watched your partner, Patrick, pitch a few months ago. He was amazing.
Oh, yes.
So I know you're going to do so well. What's been going on with you guys since?
So, you know, like you said, we've been accepted into Top Gun, and we've been currently developing a proposal for Venturewell Stage 2 funding, and Venturewell is an NSF program, and we're really looking forward to getting that started.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing you pitch. So whenever you're ready, go for it.
Thank you. So we're Zephyrus Simulation, and we're looking to develop the next generation of mobile medical education. There's a large lack of medical physicians and medical professionals in the world, 7.2 million. We also lack 2,500 nurses right here in the state of Maine. And this is typically caused by a lack of accessibility to medical education, created by things like lack of funding, lack of facilities, and lack of educator throughput. These problems alone caused 56,000 qualified nursing applicants to be turned away from school last year because the schools no longer have the facilities to take them in and the resources to deal with them. However, we're looking to change that. We propose an augmented reality medical simulation platform that takes advantage of the power in everyone's pockets, their cell phones. They'll be able to access their medical education anytime, anywhere. The user will hold the phone up to their friend, acting as the patient, and the software will be able to deliver virtual anatomical information and instruction. For example, if I was performing a cardiovascular exam, it would identify and tell me where to place my stethoscope. Then it would prompt me to listen, and I would be able to act upon the information that I'm receiving, just like I would in a real clinical scenario. This learning modality has a lot of advantages over the past modalities, such as virtual reality and expensive medical simulation mannequins. Those lack the accessibility, the affordability, and you are unable to interact with a human in real time while using them. Our market is one of an annual license. With an approximate charge of $100 per student, we see ourselves having a $3.1 million annual opportunity for our beachhead market. A beachhead market that's poised to grow as augmented reality and virtual reality in medical education is increasing by 23% every year. We've partnered with 2 research labs here at the University of Maine, and collaboratively we've been able to raise $150,000 in funding that we've used to not only develop the core competencies of our technology, but we've also been able to get out of the lab, get into the field, and interview 80 stakeholders, gathering valuable information and identifying 14 facilities that are willing to beta test our technology moving forward. We've identified that our market is very evidence-based, so we also partnered with nursing faculty from the University of Maine to develop educational studies testing the educational effectiveness and efficacy of our technology, quantifying these results and publishing in a peer-reviewed journal.
Nice job. So this is going to transform the way medical students learn, and it sounds like make it way more affordable.
Right, exactly.
All right, first question, Skip.
Thinking about the end user, and it sounds like there's 2 populations. You've got the medical schools and their students, but there's sort of a chicken and egg issue for me in terms of adaptability, because you've got to teach the faculty how to use it, and then you've got to get the students to use it. So how will you teach people how to employ this?
That's right. So because it is as a smartphone app, we're working with our developers to make the user interface as intuitive as possible, so that not only will it be easy to learn for the faculty, and they'll be able to control what their students are learning and develop educational plans, but the students will be able to pick it up intuitively. You know, they're on their smartphones almost all the time anyway, so they'll be able to pick that up, and as soon as the educator sees how quickly the students pick that up, they're just going to go right for it.
David, how many of the 14 beta testers do you expect to convert into paying customers?
So that's a great question. I suppose that all depends on the effectiveness of our technology when we allow them to beta test and the feedback that we get from the students. We see that there's all different sorts of types of educators. Some will be a lot more flexible and understand that it's a new technology, and they'll be willing to work with us and help us mold this into something that they love. Others might decide to
Quick question, Liam.
How much of your IP can you actually secure with like a patent, and do you see any other alternative use cases for that tech?
Yep. So currently we are patent pending, and what we have patented is the capabilities of the technology and the software and what the software is actually doing, not necessarily the software code itself.
Very cool. Great job. Great questions by our judges. We're going to have more time off camera because I know you guys are just bubbling over with more questions. But we do have to take a quick break, but we'll have more Greenlight Maine coming up next after a word from our sponsors.
Furniture for Greenlight Maine is provided by Thomas Mosher Furniture, handmade American furniture since 1972.
Forevermark diamonds. Beautiful, rare, responsibly sourced. Available at all Days Jewelers locations in Maine and New Hampshire.
In 1972, Tom Moser committed his life's work to craft, and 4 decades later employs 70 fine craftsmen and women in our shop in Auburn, Maine. With showrooms and customers from coast to coast and numerous awards and accolades, Tom has firmly established himself as an entrepreneurial tour de force and has proven that a life doing what you love is indeed possible.
This year's winner of Greenlight Maine will win this handmade Thomas Moser beacon box and $100,000.
Reaching new customers online is hard. You've tried Facebook, Google Ads, email. You even built a website 10 years ago. You're way too busy to focus on digital marketing, and you're not getting results.
At Dream Local Digital, that's what we do. We've helped businesses nationwide grow with online marketing. We're the experts. Let us help you.
Broadcast facilities are provided by Husson University's NESCOM, the New England School of Communications.
Welcome back to Greenlight Maine. Our judges are going to take a deep dive into these two companies. University of Maine, Orono, you got to hand it to them. They are putting it out biomedical engineers. The guys don't have jobs, so they create their own companies. Liam, let's start with you.
Sounds like the dream setup in some ways for a college student. I felt like in terms of innovation, both of them are really close for me. I felt that the first presentation with Kino Tech was a lot more in line with expectations for funding, the amount of money that they're going to need to actually get to market. I felt that's kind of like where Zephyrus probably needs more money than what they're asking for, essentially. But overall, I felt pretty good. I mean, it's great that both companies could theoretically keep jobs here in the state, which is a big part of this too. So yeah.
This is going to be a tough decision. I mean, they are both 2 stars here.
I'd echo so much of what you said. I did like from Justin and KinoTek, though, that they really seem closer to commercialization. One area that kind of gave me a little bit of pause with David is 1.5 years for a beta is a really long time to put software in the hands of people to give you feedback on that. So I would love to see them tighten up that time frame a little bit more. I thought KinoTek had really aggressive but realistic timelines in terms of beta and launch.
Yeah, I mean, both companies are really innovative and, as far as I'm concerned, ahead of the curve, right?
Cutting edge.
But so as a potential consumer or investor, it was much easier for me to understand KinoTek's story and to see what the market might be. So I could understand the scalability story. I could also understand the feasibility. I think you're right. They had a handle on their burn rate and how much money they would need. They clearly have a time horizon that has some definitive start dates in it and a pretty good team together.
But I would say if there's one area they need to work on maybe is tightening up and really vetting out the pricing model to make sure that makes sense, and also their demand generation plan for meeting these potential customers.
They need a marketing professional to help advise them.
We got Justin next, don't we, Tori?
I think at the same time, too, it's really hard to know what to price this kind of technology at. And you see other companies in the industry taking it more from like a custom, it's going to really figure out what this is that we're going to offer. What is our solution? What are the use cases we're addressing? And then let the pricing kind of fall in line with that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I really liked when Justin said, I am not from Maine. I came here. I want to build a company right outside the doors of the University of Maine, Orono, so people like me, when they graduate, do not have to leave the state of Maine. I got chills.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's a great investment for the state of Maine.
I agree, and also in the more northern part of the state too. I'm a Portland resident, and I hear a lot about investments in the Portland and startup community in the Portland area. But hearing something going into the Bangor, Orono area is very positive. It's good to hear.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you don't really hear much outside of Portland's kind of bubble in terms of what's happening, and I think it's great shows like this are highlighting, the opportunities that are happening north of Augusta.
And then David spoke about being more rural with his technology because there's such a lack of nursing students out there, not just in Maine, but nationally, that if somebody can't get to Bangor, Augusta, or Portland and they're in a rural community, they can still get their training done.
I feel like it's really early for this. I mean, it's great to be developing the use, but if you think about the pace of education right now, even some schools like Harvard doesn't have a great online degree program. and a lot of schools are still coming up to speed on the use of what we would call 20th century technology, let alone 21st century technology.
Good point. All right, let's get some final comments from each of you, starting with Liam.
I think that, KinoTek really put together a solid presentation, and I felt like they had a big enough market that made me say, wow, there's a real opportunity there, and that their technology was something that they could actually protect is a big part of this. So yeah, I feel like they did
All right,
good.
Tori.
Agree. Yeah, I was glad to hear that both companies were actually going after patents, which are more and more rare in software. So that was great to see them protecting their IP. I was really impressed with Justin's presentation and just the quality of the presentation and how close we are to commercialization there.
All right, great discussion. We have to take a quick break, but don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to find out who today's winner is. We'll be right back.
To find more resources on how to start and grow your business, visit greenlightmaine.com.
We're very proud of the product we make and the way that we make it. The most important features of our original dog vest are in its design. Traditional lenders, they steer away from unproven track records.
In you come. Hold up.
CEI gave us the opportunity to build a track record, show that our future path will be more solid than our past.
Sometimes, even when you widen your view of things, it's hard to see everything that's happening behind the scenes. It's our feeling you're not always supposed to. Because when we do our part, the only thing we want you thinking about is doing yours. We're WEX, the people behind the payments, powering the possibilities.
WEX is a proud sponsor of Greenlight Maine. For more information about the presenters and panelists on all the Greenlight Maine shows, visit greenlightmaine.com.
Welcome back to Greenlight Maine. We have two companies bringing innovation to Maine, but it's time to find out which one will advance. Judges, who's it going to be? That means Kino Tech is today's winner. Congratulations to Justin. He is moving on in the competition. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate all your comments, so please keep it up. You can check us out on social media and see all our past episodes on greenlightmaine.com. We'll see you right back here next week after Meet the Press. Have a fantastic Sunday. Congratulations. Great job, Justin.
This episode of Greenlight Maine is being brought to you by Maine & Company, helping bring business to Maine. CEO to CEO.
Greenlight Maine would not be possible without the support of all of our corporate sponsors. Thank you.
Greenlight Maine has been a paid-for presentation by the Portland Media Group.